Aaliyah endured the chaos of war, fighting for her nation's honor. Yet within the borders of her own city, prejudiced police branded her a criminal. What unfolded next sent shockwaves across the country. The rain had just ceased as Aaliyah exited the small corner store, her military jacket still crisp, medals on her chest catching the dim glow of flickering streetlights. But instead of respect, she was met with the icy, hateful glares of Officers Malik and Carter, patrolling the block like predators. They didn't see a veteran, a woman who had braved distant deserts and foreign lands for the freedoms emblazoned on their badges. No, they saw only her skin color. Within moments, tensions flared. Their voices grew louder, their accusations groundless, deeming Aaliyah suspicious for clutching her grocery bag too tightly, as if shielding herself from their piercing stares. When Aaliyah responded with calm resolve, her voice steady with the dignity of someone who had commanded soldiers under fire, Malik and Carter mocked her, scoffing at her service, dismissing her sacrifices as meaningless. Before anyone could step in, they forced Aaliyah's arms behind her back, cuffing her wrists so tightly she winced in agony, her cries reverberating down the silent street. A stark reminder that in the country Aaliyah fought for, justice was often uneven. As residents like Mrs. Lena and Mr. Jamal peered nervously from behind curtains, too fearful to act, Malik and Carter dragged Aaliyah toward their patrol car, Carter muttering that she should have known her place. Yet Aaliyah raised her head, eyes glistening with tears but her voice unwavering, whispering to herself that if she could survive war, she could endure this humiliation. Deep down, Aaliyah knew this wasn't just an arrest. It was an attack on her dignity, on every promise she'd been given as an American. Little did Malik and Carter suspect that the next half hour would unleash a reckoning so profound it would rattle their precinct and lay bare their bigotry to the world. The station buzzed with harsh fluorescent lights and the bitter scent of burnt coffee as Malik and Carter shoved Aaliyah inside, the handcuffs cutting deeper into her wrists, her military jacket now creased and damp from the rain. Yet even in that moment of degradation, Aaliyah stood taller than the men around her, her spine forged from the steel of battlefields far away. But Malik and Carter saw only what they chose, a target to demean, to strip of humanity. They jeered, chuckling about how a war hero like Aaliyah now sat in their custody like a petty thief. Malik leaned in close, his breath thick with arrogance, sneering. "Tell me, Aaliyah, was it worth fighting for a country that doesn't care about you?" Carter scribbled falsehoods on a report, conjuring charges from nothing, resisting arrest, threatening behavior. Words heavy enough to ruin Aaliyah's record, her reputation, her freedom. But Aaliyah refused to crumble. Sitting silently, staring forward, her eyes blazed with unspoken resolve, recalling fallen comrades in uniform, remembering her vow to never bow to any enemy. Yet here Aaliyah was, surrounded not by foreign foes, but by her own countrymen in blue, men like Malik and Carter who swore to protect but wielded their badges as tools of hatred. As they processed Aaliyah like a criminal, taking fingerprints, snapping mugshots, taunting that photos suited her better than medals, Aaliyah's heart ached not for herself, but for every young black girl like Tiana watching from life's margins, learning too soon that even heroism couldn't shield them from prejudice. Just as despair threatened to engulf the night, a ripple of tension stirred the air. First came the sound of heavy boots, then car doors slamming, followed by commanding voices filling the lobby with unyielding authority. In an instant, Malik and Carter's laughter choked in their throats as the glass doors swung open, and a team of FBI agents surged inside like a wave of justice. Their jackets, boldly marked with 3 unmistakable letters, commanded silence. Their presence was so sharp it seemed to shrink the station itself. Every mocking word, every cruel chuckle, every fabricated charge against Aaliyah teetered on the brink of exposure. These agents hadn't come for a routine visit. They came for accountability, and the truth they brought would turn the night upside down. The room stilled as the agents advanced, their polished boots pounding the tiled floor, their gazes piercing as they surveyed the scene. Malik and Carter, who moments ago had laughed so brazenly, now cowered in the shadows of their own station, their arrogance shattering like brittle glass. The agents weren't there by chance. They carried thick files, a trail of recorded complaints exposing a history of targeted arrests, falsified reports, and racially charged misconduct that had been whispered about for months, but never confronted until now. At the center of it all sat Aaliyah, her hands still bound, but her presence radiating quiet defiance, instantly drawing the agent's focus. Agent Harris, a tall man with a calm yet commanding voice, stepped forward, flashing his badge with an authority that hushed the room, declaring, "Aaliyah is under federal protection now." With those words, the fragile power Malik and Carter had clung to collapsed entirely. They stammered excuses, claiming Aaliyah resisted, that she was a threat, their words dripping with desperation. But every lie only tightened the noose around their careers. The agents came armed with body cam footage, eyewitness accounts from Mrs. Lena and Mr. Jamal, and a federal warrant that didn't just challenge the night's arrest, but reached back months, even years, into a pattern of corruption staining the precinct's walls. As Agent Brooks gently unlocked Aaliyah's cuffs with a precision that contrasted sharply with the brutality she'd endured, Aaliyah felt air rush into her lungs, as if tasting freedom anew. Yet her chest remained heavy, for Aaliyah knew her suffering was not hers alone. It was evidence, fuel for something greater. While Malik and Carter squirmed under the fluorescent glare, sweating and silent, Agent Harris turned to Captain Reynolds, who had feigned ignorance too long, stating coldly, "You've built this place on fear and intimidation, Captain Reynolds. Tonight, that ends." Those words rang like a long overdue verdict, promising justice not just for Aaliyah, but for all who had been silenced before. The precinct's air grew stifling, every heartbeat pounding like a drum as the agents fanned out, dismantling the false authority that had ruled for years. Malik and Carter, once strutting with unchecked bravado, now stood like children caught in an indefensible lie, their eyes darting, their voices faltering. Agent Harris, his voice steady and cold as steel, read from the warrant, listing names, dates, and cases that reeked of corruption. Teenagers like Jaden wrongfully jailed, veterans like Marcus harassed, single mothers like Keisha arrested on fabricated charges. With each name, the walls seemed to echo with the cries of the silenced, the weight of truth too heavy for even Captain Reynolds to bear. His jaw trembled, his face pale, as he realized this night wasn't just about Aaliyah, but an entire system being dragged into the light. There, Aaliyah sat, the veteran Malik and Carter had tried to destroy, now a living symbol of resilience, her presence a mirror forcing them to confront their ugliness. When Agent Harris softly asked if Aaliyah wished to press charges, her eyes welled with tears, not of weakness, but of strength, for Aaliyah grasped the weight of this moment. The chance to ensure no other black woman, veteran, or innocent soul, like Tiana, Jaden, Marcus, or Keisha, would endure her pain. With a steady voice, though her heart raced, Aaliyah replied, "Yes, every last one of them." Her words struck like thunder, wiping the last traces of bravado from Malik and Carter's faces. Some bowed their heads in shame. Others stared blankly as handcuffs, cold, unforgiving steel, clicked onto their wrists, the same steel they'd misused against others. As their badges were stripped and their power dissolved, Aaliyah felt a strange silence settle within her, a mix of justice, grief, and triumph. Her battle wasn't over, but tonight proved truth could prevail. As the agents led the disgraced Malik and Carter away, the precinct trembling under the weight of its reckoning, Aaliyah stepped into the cool night air. The rain had cleared, stars piercing the clouds. With her head high, Aaliyah whispered to herself and to the unseen faces of those wronged before her, like Tiana, Jaden, Marcus, and Keisha. "They tried to break me, but instead, we broke them." In that moment, Aaliyah's story became the nation's, a nation forced to confront its reflection. Though scars remained, Aaliyah's courage had carved a path for others, a reminder that stolen dignity could always be reclaimed.